I mean, at least from a European perspective, I mean, the theory and the aim of the GDPR is that because data protection is a fundamental right in Europe and in the UK, is to make sure that the rights that the GDPR is granting to individuals basically follow the data, even if it's processed outside of the European Economic Area. And this is why the GDPR imposes restrictions to the transfer of data to make sure that those warranties, or basically that those rights are warranted during the transit or when they flow to other countries, however, their access to the countries, because Beatriz is super right. I mean, now everything is about access. But obviously that doesn't mean that the data cannot be transferred. I mean, there are a lot of mechanisms that we see here that can be used to transfer the data. But that is a European aim.
So I would say, I know from the APEC perspective, so that system, the cross-border privacy rule system, came together under APEC, and so the mission of that is to remove barriers to trade and promote economic growth. And so I think there is the European perspective where it's a fundamental right, but I think for other countries as well, there is a economic perspective as well. Maybe that's for some smaller countries as well to be able to participate more globally in the economy. And so being, under the APEC system, that's why some of those countries have come together to remove those trade barriers. Of course, there's also the desire to protect the rights of the persons in that region as well.
I think as it often happens, some of these things come into play because bad actors have done bad things, or not necessarily bad actors, but people have taken advantage of looser requirements. And there was a time where moving data to a country that didn't have the same restrictions would open the door to doing things that you didn't necessarily have access to where you were collecting the data. So that's kind of where I think European regulators were groundbreaking in nature, sort of figuring out, well, the world is moving towards not necessarily a cloud-based system, but like a technology-based system that allows for transfers of, we're not moving filing cabinets anymore. So at that point, they were like, okay, well, if it's that easy now to move the data and duplicate it and do all these different things, we need to think about what happens, like if your rights end at the border. It's tricky when you're dealing with a technology, meaning the internet, that doesn't recognize borders.